Part A is about to begin. Part A. Situation. Nancy Chow works for the Hong Kong Cultural Arts Foundation, the HKCAF. You are going to listen to 4 recordings of Nancy talking about a music concert the HKCAF is organizing, as well as her role as a judge on a new music show on TV. In Part A, you will have a total of 4 tasks to do. Follow the instructions in the question-answer book and in the recording to complete the tasks. You will find all the information you need in the question-answer book and the recording. You now have 2 minutes to familiarize yourself with tasks 1 to 4. Task 1. Nancy is meeting Paul Caruso, a web designer from a company called Glitch, to discuss creating a website for the concert. Listen to the meeting and fill in the missing information in the spaces provided in the note sheet. One has been done for you as an example. You will have 30 seconds to study the task. At the end of the task, you will have 1 minute to tidy up your answers.
Hello, thanks for coming today, Paul. I'm Nancy Chow. We spoke on the phone.
Hi, Nancy. Nice to meet you.
Right, well, thanks for agreeing to design the website for our concert.
It's my pleasure.
We're really looking for something quite simple at this stage.
OK, not a problem. What's the name of this concert, by the way?
It's called Music, A Night to Remember.
OK, music, a night to remember. Right. OK, what we'd normally have on a page like this is, like, the basic details that you want the public to know about. Like, say, when the concert will take place?
OK, well, it'll be held on November the 24th.
November the 24th this year, I presume.
Yeah, 2015.
And the location? Where will it be?
At the Central Theatre of the Hong Kong Cultural Centre.
OK, and the time? When will it start?
It'll start at 7:30, so from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Oh, another thing, there is no interval. If you could mention that on the website.
So, no interval. I'll make that clear. And who can participate?
Well, young people between the ages of 13 and 18 can participate, and they should either belong to a school group or an independent group.
So, just groups?
No, solo participants are welcome too.
What types of performance are you looking for? What kind of music are they allowed to perform?
Well, it can be jazz bands, rap groups, or even rock music.
OK, how about dance groups?
No, unfortunately, we won't be accepting dance groups, just music groups.
And how do they apply?
Well, they should send in a video, and the video should contain 3 things.
OK, 3 things.
Yeah. First, it should contain a short video of the artists introducing themselves. Second, it should have a video of a performance. And what was the third thing? Oh, yeah, it should contain a video of them telling a funny story about what happened to them when they were performing.
All right. How can the public get their tickets? How can they contact you? Have you got it set up online or...?
Well, we've got 4 ways for people to buy tickets.
Right.
First, they should be able to buy tickets online by clicking on a link or an icon in the shape of a shopping trolley.
OK, a link or an icon in the shape of a shopping trolley.
Secondly, they can call this number 749 481 61. Did you get it down?
Yes, that's 749 481 61, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Thirdly, they can send us an email at information@caf.org. That's ORG.
OK, the email address is information@caf.org.
Great. Plus, they can get tickets at the box office.
All right, I think I have most of the important information for now. Just a couple of questions about the look of the web page.
OK.
Let me show you some designs for a logo we've used for this type of event before. We can adapt these a bit, obviously. So, which of these 4 do you think would be the best for the show?
OK, let me see. Well, I don't want the one with the break dancers. As I said, it's a music concert. So that one's out. I'm not sure about the one with the guitar. It gives the impression that we're only looking for serious musicians and not singers.
Right. What about the other 2?
Well, either of these would do, but I think I'd go for this one, just 'cause it's a bunch of people together as opposed to just one girl.
OK, and what would you like the background colour of this website to be?
Ooh, I'd like it to be red.
But it might be difficult to read the words if the background's red.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? I think just a simple white background will do, with black or maybe dark blue writing.
Great. I can show you a temporary version of the website by next week. And, if you like it, we can meet again to discuss adding more information to the website.
Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. See you next week.
That is the end of Task 1. You now have 1 minute to tidy up your answers. Task 2. Nancy is meeting with her HKCAF colleagues, Lily and Mitchell, to discuss the concert. For Part A, listen to the meeting and fill in the missing information in the spaces in the table below. In Part B, you have to indicate which company you think Nancy, Lily, and Mitchell have chosen as the sponsor and provide reasons. You now have 30 seconds to study the task. At the end of the task, you will have 1 minute to tidy up your answers. Task 2, Part A.
Hi, Lily. Hi, Mitchell.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
Thanks for coming. Right, before we go ahead and watch all these videos, I think it's important that we decide on what it is we're looking for. You know, the criteria for us to pick the 10 best applicants to perform at the concert.
Okay.
Right. Well, I'd say that they must be able to perform to a very high standard of quality. I mean, the performance shouldn't have any mistakes. You know, like it's performed by a professional group.
Yeah, I agree, but the thing is, a lot of these groups do sound professional.
Yes, but it's still important.
Okay, what else?
I personally think that the emotional impact is really important. That should be something we should consider.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean the performance should excite me.
Right, I think I understand. The performance has to make you feel something.
Exactly.
All right. Another thing I'd thought of was related to the audience. I mean, the performance has to be popular with the audience, too.
Yeah, totally. It's a concert for the paying public. We want people to come and have a good time.
Yes, exactly. We need to ask ourselves, will a Hong Kong audience like it? Is the type of music too strange? If it's too strange, they might not like it.
Yeah, but even if the audience doesn't like the music, it could still be really educational for them. And we should definitely be considering that, don't you think? You know, it's good to be exposed to new types of music. It's important for people to hear something new. They can learn more about different types of music.
Fine. Fair enough. I think another criterion is to do with the songs they've chosen to play. We should reward performers who wrote their own original music. I mean, I always think it's better if they perform their own songs. It shows some originality.
Oh, yes, I agree. If they write their own original music.
Plus, some of the groups seem to have handed in auditions that last over 30 minutes. They're just too long, even if the music was good. I think there should be a time limit. Say, 10 to 15 minutes per performance.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It might be really boring if it's too long. Okay, anything else we should be thinking about?
Yeah. One last thing is that there should be different types of acts. For example, solo versus group.
Yeah, we should definitely have a variety of music.
Yes, variety of music is important.
Right, okay. I think that gives us an idea what we should be considering while we watch all these videos.
Task 2, Part B. Nancy, Lily and Mitchell are discussing which company to choose as a sponsor. Put a tick in the box next to the company you think they choose in the table below and write down the 3 reasons for their choice based on what they say.
Okay, that brings me to the second part of today's meeting, sponsors. Now, 5 different companies have expressed an interest in being the sponsor for the event. Before we look at them, I'd like to get your initial ideas as to what we're looking for. What kind of company do we want?
Well, we want a company that conveys a positive image, something that's, say, healthy, not something that would encourage young people to take up bad habits, like a beer company, for example.
Yeah, I'd go along with that. Another thing is that the company should provide products or a service that's useful for young people, not something that might interest their parents or grandparents.
Yeah, and since this is a Hong Kong concert, I'd want it to be a local company, not some big multinational. Right, well, these are the 5 companies: Punctual Pizzas, Bali Gyms, Dragon Head Sportswear, Kemp's Assurance, Fortuno Cigarettes.
Yes. Well, I think it's quite obvious that this one is the only company that meets our criteria. They're local, what they sell is definitely for young people, and it's health-related.
Yep.
Yes, I totally agree. Right. Well, we've got a lot to do to go through all of these audition clips, so...
That is the end of Task 2. You now have 1 minute to tidy up your answers. Task 3. Nancy, Lily and Mitchell are meeting to discuss some of the performers who have applied to perform at the concert. Listen to the meeting and fill in the missing information in the spaces below. You now have 30 seconds to study the task. At the end of the task, you will have 1 minute to tidy up your answers.
So we've watched a lot of these videos. Which one stood out for you in terms of the funny story?
Well, I really liked the Liberty Sisters story.
Oh, yeah.
What was that then?
Well, it's a story about one of the band members, Amanda. Amanda's got this reputation for sleeping in all the time. Well, anyway, the band were meant to be playing at a local festival at Mayfu Civic Hall at 11 a.m. on a Sunday morning. The other two met at 10 o'clock at the MTR station. And surprise, surprise, there's no sign of Amanda. So they get on the phone and she doesn't answer. Eventually, after 20 minutes, she answers. She's still in her bed. Right, they say. We'll just go to the Civic Hall to set up, and we will meet you there. You would just have to arrive and go straight on. So Amanda agrees, but she's still half asleep, and she gets it into her head the gig is at Chunwan Theater and not Mayfu Civic Hall. So she rushes to Chunwan Theater and goes in the backstage door, and somebody tells her she's late and it started. So she rushes onto the stage and suddenly realizes it's the wrong show. It's a show for kids with people on stage in costumes dressed as spiders and frogs. So she just joins in and dances with everybody else, and nobody notices, and she has a good time.
That's really funny.
Was there one that you liked, Mitchell?
I really like the story Selena Chung tells.
Oh, I didn't watch that one.
Right. Well, she was doing an audition for a show. She's the last performer on, and she sings a really gentle ballad. During the first verse, she looks across, and one of the judges is sleeping. In the second verse, 2 judges are sleeping, and by the third verse, all 3 have nodded off.
Oh, no.
Selena decides to keep going and reaches the end of her song. The judges are still sleeping. She goes over to the judges and sits down next to them and gently wakes them up. And they are incredibly apologetic. So they let her do another song, and this time she decides to sing a real loud rock song to keep them awake. She didn't get the part for the show.
Oh, well, there'll always be other shows. I think that shows a pretty strong side to her character as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my favourite was the Hilton College Band. Did you listen to that one?
No, not yet.
No.
Right, well, when they were 16, they were asked to play at the birthday party of a son of a famous Hong Kong actor. They were playing at his house, and there was a small stage built next to the swimming pool. Their original singer was really good, but he used to get really nervous. In their first song, he goes up to the microphone like a real rock star, and the singer is so nervous that he's forgotten all the words. So he's not trying to look stupid and still look cool. So he very calmly walks to the back of the stage, past the drums, and promptly falls into the swimming pool.
Brilliant.
It was then they decided they needed a new singer.
Brilliant.
That is a fantastic story.
Yeah. Right. The other thing was I wanted to get some feedback from you, Mitchell. Remember I asked you to take a look at let's say, the unusual acts to see what they're like. What have you got?
Well, there were a lot of, how can I put it, acts that maybe were not so suitable. But one of the more exciting groups was the Cheerful Glee Club.
Okay.
Yeah, they're an a cappella group.
An a cappella group?
Yeah, an a cappella group. They sing songs and make music without any musical instruments. You know, they just use their voices.
Just their voices?
Yeah.
Okay, but that's not that unusual, is it?
Well, no, but they use their voices to create drum beats, violins, and even animal sounds.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. It's actually quite impressive.
Okay, and any other groups that you've seen so far?
Yeah, there's this all-girl Chinese orchestra group called the Flying Sticks.
Chinese orchestra? Okay, so they use traditional Chinese musical instruments?
Yeah, that's right. Traditional Chinese instruments.
Well, what is so special about that?
Well, they are no ordinary Chinese orchestra group. They use traditional Chinese instruments to play pop songs.
Pop songs?
Yeah, they play pop songs from, you know, like Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, performed in a Chinese orchestra style.
Nice. I'd like to hear that.
Okay, thanks, Mitchell.
Actually, I've got one last group I'd like to tell you about.
Oh, okay.
They're called the St. Patrick's Big Beats.
The St. Patrick's Big Beats? Is St. Patrick's a school?
Yes, they are a marching band.
A marching band?
Yeah, you know, they play their instruments, you know, like drums and trumpets, and they march at the same time.
Wow. So will they be marching up and down the stage? They're not sitting down at all?
No. So the special thing about them is that they march around in formation to form different shapes.
Different shapes?
Yes, like shapes of stars.
All right. Marching and forming shapes of stars. That I have to see.
That is the end of task 3. You now have 1 minute to tidy up your answers. Task 4. Nancy is appearing on a radio show called Power Focus along with Dr. Wendy Craik from the Hong Kong Chamber Orchestra. Listen to the show and answer the questions below. Please note you do not need to answer in complete sentences. One of them has been done for you as an example. You now have 30 seconds to study the task. At the end of the task, you will have 2 minutes to tidy up your answers.
Okay, welcome to Power Focus, Hong Kong's #1 radio debate show. My name is John Ballance and I am your host. Tonight we have with us Nancy Chow from the Hong Kong Cultural Arts Foundation and one of the judges on Bella Voce, the latest music reality show to hit our screens, and Dr. Wendy Craik from the Hong Kong Chamber Orchestra. The motion in front of us tonight is related to music reality shows and goes as follows. Music reality shows are killing the music industry. For a change tonight, we'll start with arguments against the motion. Nancy, you have 2 minutes to argue against the motion.
OK, thank you, John. I have 3 points to make to convince you that music reality shows are not destroying music. The first is that these shows provide young people with a way to hear great pop music. I know, I am sure we would all love young people to be listening to far deeper music than most pop music. But if young people are listening to pop music, at least they are listening to something. It is important for young people to develop a love for music, and the best place to start is pop music. And where is it that young people hear good pop music? In music reality shows like ours. Secondly, to say that this type of programme is destroying the industry is false. It has often been said by opponents of these shows that they stop other artists from getting a chance to have a successful career. However, this seems to be a very pessimistic view of the music industry. In fact, the music industry has always been rich in its variety, from hip-hop to folk and rock. Many artists are still successful despite these programmes existing. My third point is that programmes like The Voice of China can actually provide information about singing techniques that you have to learn if you want to be a better singer. In other words, a singer may have talent, but they still need training. These shows are also a good way of dispelling the myth that talented singers don't have to work hard. The shows are great at showing that being a singer requires a lot of practice in order to improve. So I would say these programmes are not destroying music. They are one of the reasons that music is still flourishing.
OK, thanks, Nancy. Now, Dr. Craik, you have 2 minutes to argue for the motion.
I'm sorry, Nancy, but I firmly believe that shows like The Voice of China are contributors to the slaughter of the music industry. And I also have 3 points to support my stance. First, let us be honest here for a minute. Reality music shows may be entertaining, but what these shows offer is not high-quality music. It is instead what might be called televised karaoke. I call it televised karaoke for 2 reasons. Firstly, it's televised karaoke because we get our enjoyment from seeing how bad a contestant is singing, rather than enjoying how well a singer's doing. The second reason is that even when the contestants, are doing well, they're doing well by copying famous artists, not through being original. My second point supporting the motion is related to what happens after the end of the series. The winners of such TV series achieve instant fame, so they suddenly become as famous as many more established singers. This is simply unfair. It creates an unfair market where other singers don't get as much publicity as the winner of the reality show. Haven't these other singers worked just as hard? I think I've got time to make one final point. My final point is that these shows sell a lie. The lie is that success is easy in the music industry. The true effort needed to succeed in the music industry is being lost, because it seems so easy that everyone can do it, and success can happen overnight. In the vast majority of cases, success does not happen overnight. It often takes years and years of hard work, and new musicians need to know that. And the worst thing is that the consequence of perpetuating this lie is that many musicians won't keep going when things start getting tough. Many musicians will simply give up.
OK, thanks to Nancy and Wendy. Well, we went into the streets of Hong Kong to get people's opinions on this. Speedy Chan reports.
That is the end of Task 4. You now have 2 minutes to complete your answers to Task 4 and to tidy up all your other answers. Part B. Look at page 2 of your data file. Situation. You are Starsky Chung. You work for North Star Artists, an international agency that manages a range of pop music bands and singers. Your boss is Malcolm Parker, who works in the London office of North Star Artists. He is sending a British pop band called Bubblegum to Hong Kong to do some promotions for their next CD. You need to look after them while they are here. You will listen to a Skype conference call between Malcolm Parker, a music video director, Eduardo De Luca, and yourself. Before the recording is played, you will have 5 minutes to study the question-answer book and the data file to familiarize yourself with the situation and the tasks. Complete the tasks by following the instructions in the question-answer book and on the recording. You will find all the information you need in the question-answer book, the data file, and on the recording. As you listen, you can make notes on page 3 of the data file. You now have 5 minutes to familiarize yourself with the question-answer book and the data file. The recording is about to begin. Turn to page 3 of the data file.
Now, is everyone online? Starsky?
Hi, Malcolm. I'm here.
Hi, Starsky. Eduardo? Eduardo?
I can hear you, Malcolm.
Ah, good. I can see you now, Eduardo. Now, we're here to discuss Bubblegum's visit to Hong Kong. Let's start with the first two things then. OK, so on the first day, Bubblegum have their performance at Atlantic Plaza. And then, on the 19th, they're making a music video for the song Around the World with You. OK, so let's start by talking about the performance at Atlantic Plaza. Now, Starsky, I've put this down in my calendar for the 18th of May, on the Monday.
Okay, Atlantic Plaza, Monday, May. Did you say the 18th?
Yes, that's right, the 18th of May. Make sure you put that in the schedule.
Yes, I will.
Good. Now, Starsky, it's really important for the band to practice before the actual performance at Atlantic Plaza. So make sure you tell them in the schedule to practice their songs. Let's see now. The performance is at 2:30 p.m, so I want them to practice from 10 a.m. until lunchtime.
Okay. I will tell them to practice their songs at 10 a.m. at Atlantic Plaza and practice until it's time for lunch.
And one more thing. I've changed my mind about the song list for Atlantic Plaza. Make sure the band sing their song, Look at Me, as the 6th and final song. It's a great song. Look at me, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'll put Look at Me as the last song on the song list.
Right. Eduardo, let's discuss the pop video for the song Around the World with You. What's your thoughts?
What I plan to do is film Bubblegum at famous landmarks around the world.
I get it. Around the world with you. So that's why we are filming at these different places. Different landmarks around the world.
Yeah, so I've got New York organized.
Good. What about Hong Kong? Have you thought about a location yet?
Yes, the Peak Sky Deck. It'll be perfect.
The what?
The Peak Sky Deck. You know, the building on the peak in Hong Kong.
Oh yeah, I know. The Peak Sky Deck. It is a reasonably famous tourist place, I suppose. Certainly in Hong Kong. By the way, what about noise levels? It might be an idea to keep things quiet.
No, it won't be noisy. We'll only use a small CD player. The band, they can just mime to the CD.
Good. We don't want to have all the millionaires on the peak getting mad at us. Now, Starsky, before I forget, did I mention that a local Hong Kong school asked me if they could interview the band?
Yes, I remember you mentioning it.
Well, I've agreed to it. But we need to be careful that the publicity is good for us. So you need to tell this school, or anyone else who wants an interview, that we have certain rules.
You mean no questions about boyfriends or girlfriends?
Exactly. Strictly no questions about the love lives of the band. Boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. And all interviews must take place in the hotel. We want to control the situation as much as possible. Hotel or nothing. I'll send you the emails and other details to help you write the reply.
Oh, I wanted to ask, will we need to order up any merchandise and souvenirs for Bubblegum's Asian tour?
That's a good point, Starsky. I'll email you about that later too. But it's important to note that whatever souvenirs we do order, we will need at least 20,000 of each item. And they will need to be ready by the beginning of May.
20,000. Wow. First week of May. That's quite soon then.
Yeah. We've been looking at the Bubblegum MyFace page, and the fans say they want clothes.
Well, we can do a whole range of stuff, like baseball caps, t-shirts, hoodies.
No. Let's keep it simple and just go for t-shirts. They're always the best sellers.
Oh, okay. Only t-shirts then.
I was just thinking, you should sell those temporary tattoos. All the kids love them. You know, the ones you can print on your arms?
Oh, those things. No, definitely not. I read it in the newspaper that a lot of people have complained of skin allergies after using them. Some nasty chemicals in them, apparently.
Nah, I read that as well. But that was only one small company making illegal copies. I've had a lot of dealings with a company called Ultimatum Products over the years, and they guarantee that their tattoos are safe. They can be trusted.
Okay, if you say we can trust this Ultimatum Products, we can go with them.
They do souvenir flags as well.
Oh, really? That might be quite interesting.
Yeah, we could have the Hong Kong flag with the band's name on it.
Excellent idea, Eduardo. The Bubblegum name on a Hong Kong flag will look great. And we can have a look at the suggestions fans made on the MyFace page. Give them what they want.
Okay, I'll have a look.
Right, well, I think that's everything for now. I'll be in touch soon, Starsky, so keep an eye on your inbox. Bye for now, everyone.
Okay, bye, Malcolm.
See you later, Malcolm.
That is the end of the listening component of this test. You will have 1 hour and 15 minutes to complete the written tasks in either Part B1 or Part B2. An announcement will be made when time is up. Take off your earphones now